Yesterday, I held up a picture of a little girl and I asked who silenced her. I talked about the grief. I talked about losing that spark. I talked about the silencers in my life, the comparison, the expectation. So today, it's a little different. Today, I'm going to talk about the proof. I want to show you what that girl actually did. Because while the world was busy trying to keep her quiet, I found a document. So I was going through some papers and I found a paper that changed everything for me. This is it. So I was decluttering my tax documents. I was doing all the boring adult stuff. And I found this old folder that my mom gave me about 20 years ago. And it was buried between old receipts and envelopes. So I honestly haven't looked at this thing since I was probably 21 years old. So I started going through them, and when I opened it, it stopped me cold because I was looking at my scores. It was my scores from the national exam, which is like an exam that you take in Haiti to officially graduate high school, and it's a national exam. So it's not a regular test. It's an event that every kid in the country who wants to graduate high school, they have to take it at the same time. It lasts a week and it basically determines your entire future. So I opened this paper and I didn't just see grades. I saw a miracle because right here in that piece of paper, it says that at 18 years old, I ranked number 10 in the entire country. And guys, I did this studying with a kerosene lamp. So to really understand why this piece of paper made me cry, you have to understand the specific conditions that I was working with. When I say that I studied hard, you might picture a library with my laptop, a quiet desk, with a nice lamp, with a group of friends. No, we had a serious electricity problem in Haiti at the time. And I'm not talking about a power outage for an hour during a storm. I'm talking about blackouts. I'm talking about studying for the biggest exam of my life in total darkness, night after night. Whew, this really makes me value electricity, y'all. Because I remember my mom bought me this blackboard so that I can study, so that I can practice math. I loved math. And every night to solve math problems, I used that board to do chemical equations. But we didn't have electricity, so I used the kerosene lamp and some Kindles so that I can see to write on the blackboard. So I want you to picture that for a second. The smell of the kerosene fumes, filling the room, it sticks to your clothes. It sticks to the back of your throat. The heat from the flames, the fume from the flames too of the candles. So picture also the shadows dancing on the blackboard, which made it hard to see the numbers because you had to squint. No wonder I wear glasses now, right? Your eyes burned after a while. It wasn't romantic, it was survival. And I had a good friend at the time, Elsie. She was so dedicated that she would take a cab all the way to my house so she could study with me so we can prepare for that exam. And that kerosene lamp and those candles, that was our only source of light. We didn't have iPads, we didn't have Google. There were not even computers at the time, okay? We didn't have anything to look up the answers, and we certainly didn't have TV as a distraction because there was no electricity. So we just had the flickering light and absolute refusal to fail. So when I looked at these scores in that paper, it felt like an outer body experience because I looked at my chemistry score. I scored 198 out of 200. I looked at at the math score. It was perfection. 200 out of 200. And then I saw the letter congratulating me for placing number 10 in the nation. I completely forgot about that, guys, because the 50-year-old Webley stood there looking at the work of the 18-year-old Webley. And I thought, oh my God, I did that. I really did that. So, why does this matter today? I'm telling you about a test I took over 30 years ago because for a long time, I stopped trusting that girl. Somewhere along the line, I started looking outside for inspiration. I started looking for validation that I was heading in the right direction outside. I turned into this fan for everyone else's success. I'm the big cheerleader. And it's genuine. It's genuine because when I see people winning, to me, it's a example of what can be done. And I would scroll, the 50-year-old Webley would scroll on social media for heroes, for gurus, for mentors, for anybody who has the answers. And I would follow them. But you also know the saying, never meet your heroes. I've had moments recently where I met the hero and I wouldn't say I regretted it. I said that this is a humbling lesson because you realize the perception that you had doesn't match the reality, the perception you had of that hero. And sometimes you realize, wait a minute, they preach one thing, but they leave another. And they talk about values, but they treat people poorly for some of them. And honestly, this is not about anybody. I'm not calling anybody out. It's grieving. It's a grieving process because I grieve the version of them that I wanted them to be. And and sometimes I feel bad for giving them so much power. I feel sad because I spent so much energy trying to find a North Star in other people. All this time, I had a supernova in my own house, in my own folder. So finding this document was a massive wake-up call for me because I realized that I felt more inspired by myself, by that 18-year-old girl, than I have by anyone else in years. She didn't complain about the electricity. She didn't say, I can't be number 10 because the lighting is bad. She just lit that kerosene lamp and she did the work. And I look at her results and then I look at my life now. I have electricity 24/7. I have resources. I have the internet. I have experience. Oh my goodness. I have libraries everywhere. And I thought, if I could do that under those circumstances, what am I capable of doing now? You know that snap, that moment when your past whispers louder than your doubts. That's what this was for me. And I realized that I don't need another guru. I don't need another hero. Don't get me wrong. I love learning from other people because I know when I don't know something. And even if I know something, there's always something new to learn, right? But I just need to channel the girl who scored 198 in chemistry using candlelight and a kerosene lamp because we spend so much time validating others. We spend so much time looking for validation in other people that we forget the supernova that's within. That's what that paper represented for me. And I'm really grateful that in this season of my life, somehow God made me pull out this paper and realize that you got this, Webley. You got this. So I really wanted to share this today because I hope you can relate with that. And I hope that you can go and you can think of something that you've accomplished when you were younger or even recently and realize that you don't need outside validation. Of course, you need to learn from other people. That's life. That's how you progress. But in terms of validation, you don't need another hero. Ooh, reminds me of Tina Turner. You don't need another hero. That's what I had for you guys today. And my name is Webley, and this is my 100-day journey, and I'll see you tomorrow.